Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. For today's episode, I want to talk about Jimmy Butler and new rumors that have been coming out that the Golden State Warriors are monitoring the situation in Miami and could potentially trade for Jimmy Butler before the NBA trade deadline. So Sam Amick from the Athletic in the summertime said that he thinks that the Warriors might have called the Miami Heat to gauge interest in Jimmy Butler, especially when Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat were having the issues with his extension. That is technically behind Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat right now. As Jimmy said, he wants to play, doesn't want to sign a max or an extension, not worried about the money. He's just trying to play basketball, trying to win, trying to stay with the Miami Heat is ultimately what Jimmy Butler has been saying. The Miami Heat have been saying they want Jimmy Butler, but they also don't want to give him an extension. And they said, we'll wait and see until after this season because Jimmy missed 20 plus games again with the Miami Heat, missed the playoffs after he got hurt in the play-in. So they were taking a wait and see approach. But it was documented during the summertime that the Warriors attempted to trade for players like Paul George, try to acquire players like Lauri Markkanen, and even called the Miami Heat regarding Jimmy Butler. So there's a new update coming out from Sam Amick. He basically said, yet while rival executives believe the Warriors are more willing than ever to include Kuminga in a trade of significant magnitude, the fact remains that they're setting their sights very high in terms of possible targets. One name to monitor is Jimmy Butler, the 35-year-old Miami Heat star, who league sources say drew interest from the Warriors during the offseason and who did not come to terms on an extension. He'll be an unrestricted free agent next summer, and that's if Jimmy does opt out, which he said he would opt out of his player option. So the Miami Heat could trade Jimmy Butler. We'll see. They're off to a interesting start. They're 2-2. It's not the end of the world right now, but it is a rocky start, especially between him and Bam Adebayo. Jimmy Butler has played well against the bad teams, hasn't helped the Miami Heat win against the two playoff teams that we've played so far. That was an issue last year, was not being able to beat the good teams. So Jimmy Butler has had one horrible game out of the four, and the game most recently against the Knicks, Jimmy was very passive, even though he didn't have a bad game. So the rumors are stirring up. There's now rumors that Giannis could ask out, and one of his destinations that he prefers is the Miami Heat. So could the Miami Heat trade Jimmy there? Which I don't think it would make sense for a Milwaukee Bucks team who's going to lose their franchise player who won them a championship and rebuild with a Jimmy Butler who's 35. So that probably wouldn't make sense. But we'll get back to that in a second. So initially, the Warriors didn't show a real willingness to want to deal Kuminga, and I know they were dealing with a max contract extension for him, which they didn't offer him one this summer. We saw Jalen Green and Sengun and a few other players in that class on their rookie scale contracts get that extension, and he was not one of those folks. And so it looks like the Warriors are off to a good start, 4-1. Steph has missed a few games, but Kuminga has apparently been benched, is now playing in a backup role, which could be interesting. But either way, I don't know what a package would look like, but apparently Kuminga could be the centerpiece. The Warriors do have some draft picks, so I would assume maybe Kuminga, 2 picks, and whatever filler you need to make the money work. I don't know if they want to get rid of Wiggins, but maybe because he doesn't have the best contract. So maybe a Kuminga, a Wiggins, couple picks, and maybe another player just to fill in the salary if it doesn't work out, because Jimmy is making $48 million. I know Wiggins is probably making like 30, so I think they would have to throw in another piece, plus those picks. Like, would you be willing to do that if you're the Miami Heat? And I don't know. At this point, it just seems like this is the same Miami Heat team that has struggled with two main categories, rebounding and scoring. And so one of the worst rebounding teams again this season in 4 games, one of the worst scoring teams in the NBA in these 4 games. So can we shake it up and do some sort of build where it's going forward? It's Tyler and Bam are the 2 young pieces in the franchise and build around them. You would still have Terry and Tyler as that backcourt duo, throwing in Kuminga to replace Jimmy Butler. Obviously, it's not going to replace him, but similar-esque type player, but way more athletic, and have him come in and maybe even play Wiggins and have the ultra small ball that Spo seems to be liking always, with Terry, Tyler, Kuminga, Wiggins, and Bam as your starting 5 with draft capital as well. But I don't know how likely that is, but let me bring this up, which I think could be interesting. What's if the Miami Heat trade Jimmy Butler to the Warriors to get that package? Let's say Kuminga, Wiggins. I don't know if Gary Payton's son's on there still, but if let's say he's on there, we get Payton. I don't think they'll throw a Moses Moody or anything like that now. But let's say we get those three players, 2 first-round picks for Jimmy Butler. Then if Giannis is demanding to leave and says Miami is one of his destinations, then the Miami Heat are going to have more assets that they can throw at the Bucks to acquire Giannis. So I think that could be an interesting piece. So let's say the Heat can offer Kaminga and probably again would have to throw in Wiggins, for um, contract purposes. I think Giannis is making more than Jimmy. I'm assuming probably in that 50s. Um, and then you would have to throw in some young pieces, even though Kaminga is obviously young. Then you can throw in Jaime Jaquez and one of either Tyler Hero or Terry Rozier, and then also the picks now. So the Miami Heat, I think, have 1 first-round pick they can offer, which is not good enough moving forward. They don't have a ton of assets. I mean, they do have Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Terry, and Tyler, obviously. But if you get Kuminga, then you have Kuminga, who's a young and up-and-coming player. Then you can trade, let's say, Tyler Hero to go back to Milwaukee. He's 25 years old. He's having a good start to the season. There's a young, good shooting guard right there that you can add. Then you obviously have to throw in Jaquez. And if you throw in Tyler, then you don't need to throw in Wiggins for the Heat. But so Tyler, Kuminga, and Jaime, those are the three. And then you throw in however many picks they're going to want. They're going to want all the picks for Giannis. So 2 to 3 picks. So maybe by doing this trade to trade Jimmy to the Warriors, this is the way they can pair Bam with Giannis. And then if you're able to keep Terry, then you have Terry, Bam, and Giannis. Does that win you a championship? I don't know. Maybe not. Who the hell knows? But then maybe there's other moves that Pat Riley can pull off somehow to help with that new Giannis and Bam insane front court. Like that would be ridiculous. You need to then get a good shooting uh, player around them. And obviously, if you keep Terry or Tyler or whoever it is in the trade, then that's going to be huge for them. I can't imagine a front court with Giannis and Bam, because Giannis in the past was a top depoy candidate. I think he got second place, 4 or 5 years ago, but really good two-way player, and that would be a lethal combination. If you can keep Claware, who I didn't even mention, having those three together would be insane. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this ridiculous thought of trading Jimmy to the Warriors and then the Heat trading those assets to the Bucks to get Giannis. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a good one.